What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. I am continuing to go through my team here, and I have brought in Mike Yanker. Welcome.
Hello.
Thanks for coming in from out there.
Oh, yeah, no
In the door.
There's a lot of traffic on the way in.
All right. So, some of you guys might have seen Mike speak at We Live 19, and he did a breakout room there. And that room was literally jammed packed every day. I don't understand why, but
Me neither.
so all seriousness, Mike has a lot of hats here. He is my chief operations officer, so my COO. He also is the top sales guy in terms of months getting our trophy, getting the yearly trophy, getting six-figure spreads on wholesale deals, getting the largest spreads on wholesale deals. Man.
You're just pumping me up right now.
I know, I feel really,
Jeez.
I feel like I went too far.
Yeah, I need to go back to work. I need to call somebody now.
Oh, jeez. Maybe you should just call someone right here while everyone's listening. That would actually work pretty well.
That would we'll have to
so-
do it one day.
So Mike does a lot of things in the business, and literally everybody in my company reports to Mike. And we actually just started a new market in Dallas. We've got Oregon, we've got Washington, we've got a lot going on right now. And Mike literally has most of those team members all rolling up to him. So, which is nice because I don't have anybody reporting to me anymore except for Mike. So he's able to funnel through all the crap, so I only get the good side of everything. So it actually works out very well. But you know, one thing that Mike does very well, we talked about spreads, six-figure spreads, getting 100, what was your largest wholesale fee?
I think 155.
$155,000. That was an assignment. So nice being able to go sign the contract and boom, $155,000 in. So he has a knack for talking with sellers and getting sellers to give him the deal that he wants, while still having the sellers love him. So I don't see it, but he does pretty well with that, and he does a damn good job on the phone. So let's talk about talking to sellers on the phone. So as you're talking to sellers, you know, when Nick was in here, we had a conversation with Nick. We talked about rapport building, and when you go into the house, you're not just talking about the house. You're not just walking through and saying, oh, that's a shitty kitchen. Oh, that's a shitty bathroom. You're walking through and just talking with the seller. So I want to get your opinion. So when you go up and you knock on the door of a house, seller's expecting you. You're going to your appointment. Let's walk through what happens from the moment you knock on that door.
Well, the first thing when I get there, I want to make a great impression on them. So something to break the ice, whatever it is. And there's not one thing that you could say. It's just, you know, whatever happened that day or on the way to that house or anything that you spoke about previously on the phone with them. As soon as you meet them, you want to make a great impression and just break that ice right away. So you want to become best friends. Or if it's, you know, an elderly person, become a grandson or a son or a nephew. Something like that where they're very comfortable with you. As soon as they're comfortable, have a normal conversation. You're not there to look at the house. I don't care about the attic, even though I will bring it up all the time. Honestly, I'm just there to meet the person and have them meet me. And then whatever happens from there is all organic.
Okay. So let's talk about giving the offer. So you walk through the house, and you're not talking about the offer the whole time you're walking through it, right? You're just building rapport with the person. So when do you get to the point where you make your offer? What is it you're asking the seller? What is it you're getting to get them to try to tell you so you can position yourself to make that offer?
I don't make an offer. I'll stay away from making the offer. I'll stay at the appointment for 6 hours if I have to. So there's no timeline on that. But as far as making the offer, typically I'll stay away from that. As we talk for the half hour, the hour, or 2 hours, or 3 hours that I'm there, we're just going to be talking about the picture of where they see themselves going when they sell this house. So I'm there to buy the house, but I'm also there to paint the picture of where they're going with them in it, and I get them there. So throughout the course of talking with them, I'll ask them, what is it going to take to get them there? What do they need? What are they hoping for? What's going to make it easy? What happens if I buy this house today? How soon are you there? I'll be there tomorrow if I can. Okay, good. Well, let's get you there tomorrow. That's why I'm here today. So what is it going to take? And that's what natural conversation. I'm not trying to pull their teeth to find out how much money they want. I want to know what is it going to take to get them into the picture that they've just painted for themselves.
Okay. So if you're going to leave that house with a signed contract, you went through all that. You know this is one you can get a contract signed on. Walk me through, you've gone through all this rapport building and now you're getting to this signing. How are you transitioning from the rapport building, where do you want to go, to getting that signature on paper, and what's your process there?
So, well, about 90% of the properties that I go to are going to be signed at the appointment. So the mindset is it's already a deal. If I'm getting in the car and leaving this office and leaving the team and leaving the other teams that we talked about, and I go to the appointment, I'm getting the contract signed.
Yeah.
So follow the process from front to end. I don't skip over anything. And once we're sitting down like this, just having a normal conversation, and we're talking about they're getting to where they want to go with everything that works for them. Once we talk about that and the walls are down and they agree that that's what they want to do, that paperwork's already signed. When that pen comes out, there's no, hey, Mr. Seller, would you like to sign? No, it's, well, you know what, Scott, I'm going to get you there. And we said, what, 2 weeks you want to be there? I'll make it 13 days. How about that? As soon as they agree, shake hands, perfect. Now we talk about something else. Oh, you know what, by the way, let's go ahead and fill this thing out. I'll open escrow right away for you. So it's a smooth transition. It's not one of those uncomfortable moments where you have the contract and the pen, you're like, are they going to sign? Are they not going to sign? We've talked for 2 hours. They're signing. They already know it. They've already mentally signed that contract. But what I see a lot of times is the salesperson plays mind games with themselves. So they'll sit back and they're not actually listening to what the seller's saying. They're not focused on getting the seller to where they want to go. They're thinking, is the seller going to sign? Do I have them ready? What's going to happen when I put the pen to the paper?
Almost a nervous aspect.
Exactly. I don't have that. So that's gone. When I go to the house and see it, get a contract signed, it's not if they're going to. I know they're going to. So it's a matter of, in the conversation, how comfortable they are at that moment. As soon as it's a verbal and a mental commitment, that contract's already signed.
Okay. So he gets a contract signed. Now, he talked about, sellers wanting to accomplish certain things, potentially moving in 2 weeks or doing anything like that. Now, let's go through some of the things that we do to try to get sellers to sign contracts. So, for instance, we've done moving money up front for people. Tip with moving money, obviously make sure you're covered so you get paid back through escrow or title, whatever you have set up in your state. We're an escrow state. We've also literally taken sellers, putting them in our cars, driven them to apartments, houses, to show them new places, paying for their deposits, paying for storage units, paying to have movers literally come in and pack their stuff and move them. So we do all these things to try to make it so the seller feels like they're being taken care of, almost like concierge service if you look at it. So we're offering all this stuff to sellers to try to get them to, number one, get out, number two, sign the contract. Now, an advantage of movers is we know when they're leaving, right? We tell them, hey, Mr. Seller, listen, we can have somebody come in, get everything packed for you. We can have them actually take your stuff out, put it on a truck, move it to your new place, set it where you want it to go. And to them, they're thinking, oh my God, this is amazing. But on our end, we say, okay, now we know 100% that seller is going to be out on this date. So we don't have any issues with the seller saying, oh, I need an extra 5 days or 10 days. It's literally all set for them. So we do that kind of stuff to help the sellers. And I would say that goes a long ways, right?
Huge. And the reason why is because now you're dangling these little carrots out there for them. And now they're not worried about how much money they're going to get today on this paperwork. They're already in their new place, to the new state, whatever, by their family members or their grandchildren that they haven't seen for 20 years. They're already there. So when we provide all the solutions for them, they have no stress, they have no worry, they have no objections, they have no remorse for selling because we've already put them there. My job is to make everything else super flashy and super easy for them because they're going to be, oh my goodness, Mike is going to give me movers and he's going to give me upfront money and he's going to make sure I get approved for an apartment, and
Yeah.
Mike's going to do everything for me. So by the time again the paperwork comes out, it's already a deal. We're not worried about $175,000 compared to $167,000, and that's where, as the sales guy, you could really make a bigger profit just by throwing the carrots out there that don't really cost money out of our pocket, but they're very good things as far as doing something for the seller that's going to make their life easier. If you can make their life easier and they're comfortable with it, they'll take any price that you offer them.
And let's jump back on that real quick, because you touched on one thing I want to make sure that we look at here. So he mentioned no money out of pocket, right? So we do take money out of pocket when we pay for their moving money. But the thing is we make sure that we have addendums in place that we are paid back. Now that's really important. So the way we position ourselves, because we are in an escrow state, basically we tell people that if you're getting $5,000 moving money, for instance, you're getting that after all of the escrow docs are signed. You're getting that after the title is verified cleared and their payoff is received. So all of those things are done. So at that point, if the seller, you hand them that $5,000 check and the seller goes, ha ha, I got your money.
Right.
Now I can run. I'm not going to close on the house. Forget it. The sale is dead. At that point, we have everything done. Everything is signed. The net sheet is signed. Everything. Worst case scenario, we just go ahead and drop the property, get it recorded. We own it. Buyer owns it. Whoever it is that's buying the property. If they don't leave, worst case scenario, we evict them. But at that point, we already got back our $5,000 we gave, so we're made whole. So we make sure we protect ourselves before any money goes out, because that's so important. And I've seen so many people that sellers like, hey, I need $500. And they're literally at the house and they're reaching into their pocket and they're like, all right, 1, 2, 3, and they're counting it out to them. I bet you the majority of those people never see that money again. I mean, how could they possibly get that money back if the seller's got what they need already, right? Maybe that seller just needed $500. You showed up and you got it. I don't know what people's mentality is with people like us coming to houses. When we say we'll buy houses for cash, they literally think that Mike's gonna roll in there holding a suitcase, open the thing up, and he's got like $1 million inside of it in cash and be like, hey, you ready to sell? Here you go. It doesn't work like that. So saying we buy houses for cash, you're definitely gonna get people that don't understand that. But in most cases, we do a lot of things to try to help sellers get out houses. And we work with a lot of sellers that are really hurting. And the thing you have to be cautious of is, how many times have people told you they need like $10,000, $20,000 in moving money?
So before we get to that part, the other side of making sure the paperwork is done correctly. So that's the business side of things, right? And you have to make sure that all of the business side of the paperwork is done properly, and you have to have the processes in place to be able to support that system. So as the sales guy, when you go to the property, you're not worried about that because the systems and the processes are already in place before you get there. So your job is to clearly just find out what's going to work for them. You already have all the wording and everything done proper. So you're not fumbling through paperwork or figuring out how you should try to write something out, because then the seller sees you getting nervous, and if you get nervous, they're nervous, and it's a dead deal. So have all of the wording and the paperwork done properly prior to going out to negotiate with the seller. As far as upfront moving money, most of the people that will sell to us will take as much as they could possibly get. If you went with $100,000 up front, they would take it, right? And it's never enough. They would want 125. So you want to get that down as small as you can. If we buy 20 properties a month and we have to put $5,000 out per deal in advance, we have $100,000 out, right? You can't. It's not long-term sustainable. So you don't want to offer moving money to everybody, but if it is to their need and it's going to get the job done, then offer it, right? But you need to be very careful that they don't take advantage of that. So if they want $10,000, you need to just kind of break and reverse engineer the $10,000. What do we need the $10,000 for? Look, I want to make that work for you. $3,500 is the most I could do. So explain to me why we need $10,000, and let's figure out, how we can work that out. Because by the time you get some of this money, we're already going to have you off to where you need to go. Plus, I'm getting the movers for you.
Yep.
So how can we make this work? Now, the good thing about that is, now, because you're negotiating about upfront moving money and they want that money real quick in their hands, you could give them a little win. I could do $3,500. My boss won't allow any more. But if I gave you $5,000, do you think that would work? And now they think they won. They think that they're in control, and they think that they're getting what they want. and now you have the upper hand in negotiating the overall value of the property and what you're going to offer them. So very fine line on which way that could go, but ultimately, if you're a skilled negotiator, you could use that towards your advantage. Let them think that they won, and then ultimately get the price lower just by giving them $4 or $5 grand upfront moving money.
The moving money is definitely a big factor in some things, but one thing you have to realize, you have to kind of understand the cost of things. So, for instance, with me, I know that if someone says they need moving money, just money for their truck, right? You're gonna go get a U-Haul. $39.95 is the largest one. 99 cents a mile. Might be a little more than that now, I don't know. But consider 99 cents a mile, call it $100 in fuel. So when you look at that kind of stuff, $10,000 just doesn't equate if they're just moving across town. So you need to make sure that you know some of this. And when you look at moving companies, for instance, I mean, typically if someone's doing a move out of state, we're gonna get quotes on that first. But ultimately, if they're just moving across town, you know, for a general size house, it might cost somewhere around $1,500, maybe $2,000 if you go with high-end movers. So if they're saying they're going to pay for movers, but they want $10,000, the option is we can pay for the movers for them, and then we're not having to give them $10,000. Then the truth starts coming out. Well, yeah, okay, I wanted to pay for the movers, but see, I have this credit card, and then it starts coming out, right? So that's what digging into this a little bit does. I've seen some people are like, hey, I want $10,000. Great, okay, no problem, let's get this done. It's like, well, okay, dig a little bit and let's come up with something that actually works, because
How many times have you heard that the 10 grand is gone, but they still can't afford the movers?
you know what, let's talk about that. Because there was a house we had over in Long Beach, California. And this house, I think, was almost a year ago now. We were in an old office, so I think it was a year ago. And I believe we were giving the lady $5,000 moving money. She was in a situation where she was going to foreclosure, but she had a ton of equity in the house. I want to say she was walking away with like $250,000, $300,000.
Sounds about right.
And so we put $5,000 moving money. She was getting a U-Haul. She was going to move into an apartment. So, you remember this one? So we give her the moving money, and she calls us like 2 days later, and she said, hey, I need another $5 grand. We're looking at each other going, we just gave her $5 grand. Where did this go? So apparently her daughter took it, bought a car for herself.
Well, first she said, don't worry about where the money went.
Oh, she did say
more.
that first, yeah. She didn't want to tell us where the money went. She just said she needed more. And in the end, we find out her daughter basically took the money and bought herself a car, or a down payment on a car,
I think
because
it was a down
it seemed like
payment.
it was a nicer car. So there was such a big spread in this thing for us. We're like, all right. So we gave her more. So she got her a U-Haul, and she got ready to leave. But to her, leaving was taking the U-Haul and putting it on the street in front of the house and still hanging out on the porch, because she didn't have all of her funds yet. So she had spent all this money. The 10 grand was gone. And she didn't have a place to go. She had no money to go anywhere. So she basically sat out front, stayed on the porch, but they were out of the house. So to them, they had vacated the property. And we're like, well, hey, it's not how that works. You
The
have to
dogs
actually
were still in the
leave.
yard?
Yeah, the dogs were in the yard, and we said, hey, you got to get out of there. Well, the dogs had no place to go. We gave you $10,000. Where did you go? So basically, it was, how did we find out about her apartment she was moving into? Did the apartment call us
I think
to
so.
verify funds?
I think they needed a net sheet.
That's what it was. So we got a call from an apartment community. Keep in mind, this lady was in foreclosure, right? Got a call from apartment community. They were getting the net sheet so she can get approved for her penthouse apartment on the top of a skyscraper in downtown Long Beach. And we're thinking, penthouse? She's talking about how she bought herself all new furniture, everything like that. And was it 6 months later she called us? Said, hey, I'm getting evicted. I need more money. No, our deal's been done actually for quite some time. She literally blew through hundreds of thousands of dollars buying a penthouse apartment, new furniture, new cars. Pretty sure her daughter was taking some of that from her. But now she's in a situation where she's getting evicted out of her next place. The house was her nest egg. Now it's gone. And she's in an apartment. She doesn't have equity in there. She's getting evicted out of there. But she already has a foreclosure on her record at this point. So you got an eviction, you got a foreclosure, and you have no money? I don't know where she is today, but those are the type of things sellers do. Now, where they spend their money, honestly, is none of our business. However, if I'm giving upfront moving money, I do want to make sure we're not getting a little crazy with what we're putting out there. So we want to make sure that we're putting as least amount as possible because, well, he goes out and offers moving money. I'm the one watching for the bottom line of the company, right? And I'd say, okay, man, guys, let's slow down on the moving money a little bit, or let's get some closings in so we can start paying for some of this stuff. So we have to watch that kind of stuff. And like he said, if you go offer $5,000, $10,000 and we do 20 contracts a month, that's a big expense to the business. So you get sellers that do a lot of crazy things. What is the craziest thing you've ever seen at a house? Craziest.
Wow.
I know there's a lot. Let's go top two.
You're gonna put me on the spot right now.
Appropriate things.
Oh, there's been a lot. There has been a lot. Let's go with my 5.5 hour appointment.
The one that turned into a lawsuit
Yes.
that is still going right now.
Yes.
Okay. Talk about that one.
So, went to the property. I actually had.
I gave you tickets that night.
Yeah, I had tickets to an Angels game. I think they're really good tickets, but
Nice
I
guy.
wouldn't know.
Nice guy. I gave you free tickets that were given to me, but they were great seats. And I said, you know what?
Can we
You
talk
go to
about
the
that?
Angels game tonight, and you're not getting new ones. No. So go ahead and continue.
You're such a nice guy. You gave me tickets to a game that I didn't go to because I got a contract. You're a nice guy, Scott.
It didn't close. So go ahead.
I think we need to go negotiate that one.
We may have to.
When it closes, we'll go to the game. And we'll talk about
We'll see if we
the
get
outcome.
paid back or if we lost money at that point.
So I go this Friday. This was also near Long Beach or somewhere out there, so real far away from our office. Go to the property, very, very strange. Just the strangest thing I've ever been involved with my entire life. Very, very weird. I was probably by myself at the appointment for 3 hours. I made all my calls. I did follow-ups. I probably made 50 follow-up calls that day just because I was sitting in the backyard by myself. So I talked to the wife. She was on board. Everything was good. We negotiated back and forth and in hard negotiations, but ultimately came to an agreement. So it's great. Okay. She leaves me alone in the backyard. So sat there 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. All right, well, I'll just stay here until she comes back. So I made calls, I called all my follow-ups, I emailed, I did everything I was supposed to do as far as work. It was Friday, got everything caught up. It was great, actually. I should go to more appointments like that. So she comes back. Apparently she was inside arguing with her husband. I didn't know that. So she comes back and says, okay, he's ready to talk to you. He's on board. He's going to, wants to get this going also. So little did I know that they were getting a divorce or they were unhappy or something, right? I didn't know all the surrounding details, but then I started to find out little bits and pieces. So as the three of us are sitting down talking and negotiating how we could solve their issues for them, she gets pissed off, throws the contract at me and says, you deal with him now, I'm leaving, and he hasn't said a word to me yet.
She had signed it at that point.
She already signed it. She signed it, threw it at me, said, you deal with him, he's on board, but I don't know why he's being stubborn and arguing with me, and I'm just going to leave because if not, he's just going to argue with me the whole time. So she gets in her car, which was in the backyard, puts in reverse, burns out, I think hit the fence on the way out and leaves. so now him and I, even though I've been there for probably 3.5, 4 hours at this point, we haven't said one word to each other.
Mm-hmm.
So now we're sitting there and we kind of just look at each other like, all right, well, I guess it's just us now.
Right.
And eventually he signed the contract. But yeah, that was pretty strange. When she left, it was just him and I. He looked at me like, all right, I guess we have to figure this out. And then she called me, actually. She called me. Yeah, did you get it figured out with them? No, not yet, I'm working. Put him on the phone. Put the husband on the phone. She's just yelling. He says, here, it's for you. Gives me the phone back. She's yelling at me now. But we got the contract signed. That will close one day. 5.5 hours at the appointment. It was strange. But
missing the baseball game.
Missed the
Great
baseball
tickets.
game. Mm-hmm. Missed the baseball game.
So, and
I had a lot of
then
friends there at that game too that I missed.
well, didn't get to hang out with them. So we are now a year later on this contract. We have been in a lawsuit because they decided to completely ghost us since then. Now, talking about moving money. So this is
I
the
have
thing.
another one.
$30,000 was being given to these people, right? Now keep in mind, because we protect ourselves, we didn't give it. They signed the agreement that they sign escrow docs, and then title's clear, we get their payoff, they get their money. Well, they ghosted us pretty quickly on this one. So ended up turning out we tried to contact them many times. We ended up getting into a lawsuit with them. Still in it a year later, spending $50,000-$60,000 in attorney's fees, if not a little bit more at this point. And this lawsuit just keeps getting weirder and weirder, because the only reason that we were giving that money up front is she originally said that her husband was not doing well, and she didn't think he was going to live that much longer, and she wanted him to live at a place near the water for his last days. Mm-hmm. So we needed to give her the money as quick as possible, because it sounded like he was done in like a week, basically. So
He wasn't. He's still
no,
not.
he's still very well alive. But we were going to give her the money so she could go get this place for him, get out by the water, get him out there, and basically let this guy live his last days. And no, they completely ghosted us, went into our lawsuit. He came into his deposition with my attorney in his wheelchair, and they asked him, what's wrong with you? Do you have any medical conditions? No, nothing. Okay. Very, very strange couple, but a lot of twists and turns we can't fully talk about because we're still in that lawsuit. But that one, they've tried every excuse in the book to get out of our contract, and we literally just sit here and shoot every single one of those things down. Apparently we forged their signatures, got that one gone. Apparently we changed the verbiage in the contract, that one was gone. A lot of different things come up. Sellers will try anything possible to try to get out of something they don't want. And they're starting to spend money on attorney's fees now too. So we're both spending money. And last thing we want to do is keep dragging this out, but we got to get this thing done. So some sellers, it'll drag out. So make sure you protect yourself with your contracts. That's very important. Now, we're not attorneys, but make sure you have an attorney's fees provision in your contract. So that's going to be very important. So what was the other one you were thinking about?
Yeah, so with that, you know, all the paperwork and the processes and structure have to be in place. But again, as a sales guy, shut all that off. You're going there to get the contract, and if you have to sit there for 5.5 hours and deal with all this ruckus that's going on, deal with it, right? And then your company and your structure, your policies and procedures take care of it on the back end. Mm-hmm. So the other one was also, I think, a 4-hour contract. Ryan and I actually went to the appointment together. We met the guy for coffee. Then we ended up having tea with him, and then he showed us, we were in some little town, and he showed us all around and took us to different offices and different companies and just dragging his feet with everything. We had already come to an agreement, but he just wasn't ready to sign the paperwork. So, and again, remember, by the time you pull the contract out, they're ready to sign. And if they're not ready to sign, don't pull the contract out, because then they tell you, nope, get out of here. Mm-hmm. So, drag it on. And we're there for now hours, and we had lunch and coffee and tea and look at everything we could look at. And he said there was a good massage place down the street.
Oh, this one. All right.
So with the three of us, me, Ryan, Mr. Seller, we go to this massage place, and we thought since he invited us, he was going to pay. No, he didn't pay for us. We all paid individually, which is funny. So we go there, and if you go into this thing, it's wide open. It's just everybody gets massages in the wide open, and I do. And if you heard enough about me, I do the strangest shit in the world just to get somebody else off their game. If I can be more weird than you, then I have the leg up in the competition. So I'll do whatever I can.
Let's keep this G-rated.
Oh, it is. So
okay.
It is. We walk in and go to the massage tables, and I look over at Ryan, and I drop my drawers, and he looks at me like, "What are you doing? Don't do that." And I just said, so he turns bright red. He's so embarrassed. Like, "What are you doing? We're with the seller. You know, you shouldn't be doing that." Well, the massage lady walks up to him and goes, and tells him to drop his pants too. So he did, and we get massages. Ryan fell asleep during his massage, and he thought the guy was going to try to ditch us while we were getting our massages, but he didn't, and we finished those massages. We came out, we had coffee again, and he signed the contract with us. So do whatever it takes to get the contract
Did that
signed.
one close?
That one also happened to be fraud.
That was the guy that was in he had the house in town here, right?
Yeah.
And he was selling a house he literally had no
didn't
interest
know.
in
Yep.
whatsoever. So this guy basically dragged them all over the place, got him into all this stuff, and turns out the guy actually couldn't sell the house. In
Great
the first
massage
place.
though.
So,
Great massage. So
well, I hope so. At least you got something good out of it. All right. So with sellers, you always have weird situations, but there's good ones. You know, there are those occasional few that actually you go to the house, the person's normal, they sign the contract, it closes, and we all get our money. It does happen. So definitely with sales, you experience some strange things. But let's talk about our team here too. I like to talk to everybody about that. I've asked everybody to describe our work atmosphere. What is our office like on a daily basis?
every day it's different. Every day it's different. So the culture here is have fun, let loose, but work your ass off, right? So we don't like to micromanage. If you're on top of it, your work is going to show, and if your heart is in it, that's going to show as well. So everybody collectively in this team comes to work to produce results, and in return, we have a great atmosphere because of that. And it starts from the top. You have to have a great leader, and you got to lead from the front to be able to do that. So when that happens, everybody kind of falls in line, and if they don't, then they work themselves out of the whole structure, and we're better without them. So because we have such a good culture and because we have a great atmosphere and everybody actually enjoys what they do, which is very strange because we do some strange stuff. We have a great team. I don't think we've had any staff changes in 2 years?
Well, we've let somebody go, but we have not actually had anybody leave the company on their own accord, I guess is the way to put it.
Yeah.
So
Even with my sales guys, I brought up something the other day, just as we're expanding into different markets and different teams that we're digging into as well. I looked at some of the numbers that they were doing on calls, and it actually blew me away. I was very impressed. And I brought it up to them. And then the following day, without me asking or even talking about it, they came into my office and said, you thought the numbers were good that we did before? Look at this from yesterday. And they doubled the amount of calls that they made. Doubled, which is crazy. I don't even know how you could do that. But they did. Just because we all have that drive. We all have the intensity. We all want more. And to be part of this team, you have to want more. And if you don't, I'm sorry, you won't fit in.
So is it an understatement to call us a competitive office?
Very competitive, but it's a good competition. I think every guy in the sales team owns a BMW now. So
yeah, so these guys have got their BMWs. Maybe I pay my team too much. I don't know. So tip for you guys out there: pay them less. But they've got their BMWs all lined up, backed up every single day next to each other. So I'm like, dang, these guys are making a little too much. But but it's cool. I like to see that. As a business owner, if you really seriously look at that and you say, well, I'm paying my team too much, you're not cut out to be a business owner. You're not cut out. Let me rephrase that. You're not cut out to be a business owner with a team like this. I have a team that I leave. If I told Mike I'm leaving tomorrow and I'll be gone for a week, I guarantee he works harder while I'm gone because he wants to prove I can be gone. Right?
You don't even tell me you're leaving.
Yeah, you should just leave. But that's the thing is I don't have to be here. I don't have to. My team is ran. So if they've got BMWs in the parking lot, God damn it, buy the BMW. That's fantastic. I look at it and say, my team is enjoying life. And I'm not saying you need just those things to enjoy life. I'm saying that they should be able to get some of the things they want. And my team is paid very well, but they're not paid well just out of my pocket for the hell of it. They're paid well because they work hard. These guys are on commission. They're in there and they're pushing hard every single day. If we went out in the office right now, you would hear people out there making phone calls. They're not just saying, oh, Scott and Mike are in here, bosses are away, let's go do our own thing. They're out there making calls. They're doing it. Because they know that's what needs to be done. I hear Aaron out there all day long getting hung up on. Calling back that seller. The seller picks up. Oh man, I think we got disconnected. Seller, no, I hung up on you. Oh, why would you do that?
Well, now that I got you back on the line, well, let's talk about this offer that I made.
I think I heard that like twice today. I don't know why when people hang up on him, they pick up when he calls back.
Yeah.
I don't know why that is, but they seem to. But ultimately, we have a great environment here. And we'll do some videos showing our office a little bit. I always say we should do like a reality show of our office and have cameras all over the place. And it'll probably get better ratings than that show The Office did with Steve Carell.
I think we're out of tissues again, by the way. So we joke around a lot, but ultimately we do work really hard, and I like to call it the trickle down effect. And you could have that in a good way or in a bad way. So if Scott's in a bad mood and he takes it out on me, and yeah. Oh no, you're the nice guy now. So
Yeah,
I take it
right.
back. If I'm in a bad mood and I take it out on my team, then now they're going to be in a bad mood or down on themselves or not have the energy to deal with the sellers I would deal with, or Dispo isn't going to be able to work with the buyers, and TC won't be able to work with escrow. So it all starts up front, and you trickle down whatever you put into it. So how Scott said he could go out of town now. Well, we've been doing that, and we thrive. Well, now Scott and I could go out of town to run some other companies and do some other ventures, and I could just put one of my top sales guys in place of me, and now he's running it. People are looking up to him, and he expects higher results while I'm gone. So everybody is on top of their own departments and on top of their own work. Not, Scott and Mike are gone. We just, we could watch Netflix all day.
Yeah.
That isn't going to provide any results. So, and yes, do the guys all have BMWs and are they on commission? Sure. But honestly, if they came here and didn't make any phone calls, they wouldn't be able to afford to get to work.
Yep.
So we all work hard, and my advice to everybody out there is if you are a hard worker and you have that drive and that fire and that intensity, surround yourself with like-minded individuals. And if you do that, you're going to thrive. If you surround yourself with people who want to party all night on the weekends or go to bars or not work or just watch TV all the time, well, that's what you're going to get also. So be careful of your surroundings. If you're building a team, build a great team. Don't hire somebody just because you know them. Hire them because you're like, wow, I need that person on my team.
You know what I just realized too? We keep saying we're going to do 150 deals plus this year, right? And as we look at that, that's California.
Yeah.
So if we add in our new Texas market to that, we add in Oregon, we add in Washington, we could potentially do 250 deals this year.
Yeah, I think we already have combined, 7 to 9 deals, and it's only the 9th. So, our production is going to go up tremendously.
Yeah, that's exciting. So definitely good to see that growth, and it's a good test for us because we're seeing what it's like to do things in different states. Texas is way different than California, good and bad ways. Oregon and Washington different than all the others. So it's cool to see different markets and how they work. But you have to take risks in business to try things. This is the first time we've expanded to another state. I spent a lot of time on airplanes lately, which is very wearing, and Mike's been right by my side on a lot of it. So we have a long ways to go, but we should talk about something that we have coming in the future. That let's just throw a little teaser out there.
Which one?
Well, let's ease into it a little bit. So, Mike and I have been working on some stuff behind the scenes, and we get a lot of questions from people watching videos of us, seeing us at events, and saying, "Damn, Scott, I want to know how to run this business. How does Mike do what he does with sales?" What if we had something that potentially would teach somebody both of those things all in one? That's something that you would like? Something I would like.
I love it.
Keep an eye out. We've got some stuff coming your way. But we're going to try something with this video. So when this video hits, when it hits my YouTube channel, if we get multiple people in the comments posting that they want to see a live Q&A, Instagram Live. You have to go in the comments, you have to say, I want to see a live Q&A. And if you do that, Mike and I will do a live Q&A, we'll schedule the time, so you guys can literally come on, ask us questions, and let us answer it for you. How's that sound?
Sounds great to me, but I'll tell you what, I'm going to hold you guys accountable.
Hey.
You come with some questions and we say you need to do this, this, and this. I sure hope that you follow up with us and show us that you did this, this, and this, right? Because ultimately we could talk all day, but if we don't put action in place, they don't put action in place, nobody's going to produce. So I'm ready.
So bottom line, don't waste our time and we won't waste theirs, right?
Exactly.
All right, guys, thanks for tuning in. This is Mike. glad he came on. We've got one more person in my office we're going to do some, actually, I'm sorry, two more people in my office we're going to do videos on. But then that will be my whole team, and then we'll start a brand new series. So thanks for tuning in. See you guys next time.